Hey guys, how's it going? Go See Rich here today. So, we're going to be doing a radiator flush. Things to note, this is a pressurized system. This is not your regular radiator system. Regular radiator system would have a cap on the radiator, so you can undo it and put fluid in that way. With the Mazda and other vehicles that are newer, they no longer have the radiator cap. What they end up having is just the reservoir, which is pressurized and feeds the whole system. So if we look right here, first thing to note is, as you can see, it's got a hand on there and it's scolding. That means don't touch this after you've gone for a nice drive. Even if you've gone for a small drive to the corner store and stuff, if you've gotten over a certain amount of RPM, that fluid's going to be pretty hot and you shouldn't touch that. What you should do is, on the inside of the vehicle, there's going to be heat temperature. You can always check the heat temp and see it's gone down. Usually takes, a good half an hour. So park your car, leave it for half an hour, let it do its thing. But in the meantime, if you've already parked it for 15-20 minutes, if you want, the next part is to jack up your car. If you don't know how to do that, I'll post a video here and then you'll be able to see how to jack up your car. The next thing that we're going to have to go into, of course, is flushing it and getting the fluid out the bottom. I haven't taken a look down there yet. We'll either have a drain plug or we will have to remove a hose. So I'll show you which hose to remove and we'll go from there. And other things to keep aware of is when you're doing this, make sure that you have a place to get rid of the fluid, because this stuff is highly toxic. You don't want it to get on your skin, so make sure you're using gloves. Make sure you're using eyewear. You don't want the shit in your eyes because it will suck. And if it gets on the ground, then Fluffy next door or your Fluffy might eat it and then die. So you want to make sure that it doesn't hit the floor. And if it does hit the floor, use the proper cleanup material. And if you don't know what that is, if you don't have concrete cleaner, but you do have a cat, you can always use kitty litter and it will absorb it. Alright? So, going forward, first thing we need to do, jack up the car. Second thing you need to do, make sure your car is nice and cool. After that, we're going to have to open this up and we're going to just open the cap. Then we're going to get into the car and I will show you which pipe we're going to disconnect to drain our fluid out of our radiator. And we'll go from there. Alright, stay tuned for the next. Alright guys, so once your car is jacked up like so, you're going to go underneath and you're going to see along the rim here there will be Phillips. Now, if you look right here, you don't need to take this off. This is actually part of the inner fender well. So you're going to actually take off all the screws, all the Phillips along the rim, except for the ones on each of the corners, which you'll see the separation. The next thing you're going to need is 10mm socket. You're going to drop 6 bolts. There'll be one here, there'll be one in the corner there, and one back there. If you see where I'm pointing, my finger's directly in front of the holes, those 2 spots right there are going to have bolts in them. You need to take those out. Then you'll need to take this one out, the center one out, and the other one out on that side, and then there'll be 2 more on that side. After you pop all those out, this skid guard comes out of the way. Alright? Alright guys, so the next thing you're going to have to do is go to the driver's side, come under the panel, and if you look up here, you're going to see this. This will be our drain plug. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen this and it's going to start puking fluid, and so you're going to want a big bucket. Now the thing is the reason why I'm saying you want a big bucket is, well, if you have a big oil pan, that's good, as long as it's a big one, it's not a little one, because you can expect a lot of fluid coming out of here, and you do not want to have to try and switch buckets halfway through, because it will make a mess, and with working with toxic stuff, it really sucks. So this is where you're going to want to use your rubber gloves, your glasses, and that way you don't get anything in your eyes, and then we're going to drain it and we'll dispose of it good. Other thing to know that you should have on hand, if you want to, is you can always switch the hoses on your radiator. If it's going bad, or maybe you want to put some different colored ones on, who knows. But if you look up there, that's where one of them starts, and they have this C-clamp right here, which you're going to have to take off. Now, keep in mind, you're going to drain the fluid first, alright? But there might still be some in here, so you might want to grab this and have it over here when you pull that hose off. So you're going to grab that. Keep attention of where the clamp sits. You want to make sure that clamp sits in the exact same place, and same with the hose. So even if you're putting a new hose on, you're going to want to make sure it fits the groove, because I've seen there's a groove there. So that's the first hose you're going to want to undo. And then you'll go up top and you will see this hose right here underneath, and that clamp you're going to want to pull off. And then again, keep note of the position. You want to make sure it goes back in the same position. So that's one of them. And then there's the last motor clamp right there. That's the last hose. Take that off, and then you can take off that whole T-harness, squiggly T as I like to call it, and then you can actually replace those if you feel the need to. You know, they make different colors by OBX and other places, so you can always check them out. They're not too expensive, and in the end, it's always a good thing, so that way you don't have to worry about any coolant leaks. Anyways, so let's drain the fluid. After we've got the fluid out, I'll tell you the next step. Alright guys, so the next thing you're going to want to do is, of course, get all the fluid that's left over in your reservoir out. So there's a couple options that you have for doing this. First one, of course, is getting the clips. You're going to have to bend the clips in. There's going to be one right here, and there's going to be one right there on this side, and it'll be in there. I'm going to remove this so I can show you the clips. But basically what you're going to be doing with this is getting all the fluid down to the back and then pouring it down the big pipe, so that way it all drains down below into the bottom. Now, underneath the tank here, I'll show you. So this is clip number one. It's the biggest bitch of them all. It's got a big lip on it, and you're gonna have to basically be able to. How I found it easiest is I had one of the fork style push pins, so I was able to push it in there and then lift it up over it. And then the other side came out really easy. The other one you can push from the back and through one of those holes, and it's really easy to get out. Just be careful when you're doing it. Then you can pour it down. I only put this back on so that way we wouldn't get any spillage, but you can always take this off again. That way you can get it. Best time to do this, of course, is while that's draining down below. So I'm going to be taking a quick look at the fluid, tightening up that the radiator plug, and then we'll go from there. Hey guys, how's it going? So what I'm going to be doing here now is I've decided that I'd pop off the hoses to show you guys if you're replacing the hoses. It's very easy. Just take this clip, push it back like I've done, and then work them off. The one without any cover, it goes on the driver's side, the side closest to the driver, and the one with the cushion side is the one that goes closest to the passenger. Okay, and then that's of course the big hose. Now I'll show you the reason why I'm going to do it. It's not because I need the new hoses. It's because I've got a lot of dirt at the bottom of this tank. Like if you look at that, it's on the inside, and I'm going to be cleaning this thing out. I might as well do it proper, right? Clean everything out. So I'm going to get in there with some cloths or some other stuff that I have, some pipe cleaners and stuff, and I'm gonna get that clean because I want to make sure that's nice and shiny. So that's what my next step's going to be. So just something to look for when you're doing this. I was also taking a look at the fluid coming out, and it's pretty dirty, so I want to make sure that I'm cleaning this properly. So if you're not going to be doing this, you can skip this part, and all I'm going to quickly do is clean this up, and then we'll be putting this back on. If you're putting new hoses in, this from here is really easy. All you got is one big hose on the bottom of the radiator that you're going to disconnect. Remember, be safe, wear goggles, don't get this crap in your eyes. Get that bottom just after the T-joint. You'll see right there at the very bottom of the part that connects to the radiator, there's one more C-clamp. Loosen that off, pull those hoses out, and put the new hoses in. Okay? So, from here, I'm going to quickly give this a clean, and stay tuned for the... Alright guys, so after you're done replacing the hoses and everything, now if you're replacing the hoses, one quick thing to always note, just to make sure, you'll see that there is a longer fin on each piece here. If you look on here, you'll see that's longer fin, and there's a bunch of short ones. Make sure your tube, there's a notch in each tube, make sure that is sitting in the notch, and that the clips are sitting in the exact position they were before. Very important. Alright, so you've got to do that with all three and the one down there, so that way if you switched your hoses, you're all good. Now, the next thing you're going to have to make sure you did was make sure your drain plug's in. You got to make sure that's back in now. Make sure it's dripped out. You want to get out as much as you can on the first try. Second try, I'll show you what we're going to be doing. So, after we've gotten this far, next thing you're going to need is demineralized water. The reason why, of course, is it's not good for the minerals and the chlorine and everything in tap water to go inside your vehicle. So it's always best to use demineralized water on your vehicle. So next thing you're going to do is fill up your reservoir with this water as far as you can, and or up to the max line. And then what you're going to do is we're going to be firing the car up. So once you fill this up, next thing you're going to do is go into your car. You're going to start it. You're going to let it idle. While you're letting it idle, next thing you're going to do is take your heater temperature controls, which will be over here, and you're going to crank them. You want this one maxed, well, this is at 4, and you want this wherever. Doesn't matter. And the reason why is because we need the thermostat, the heater, cooler, and everything to be circulating, and the water pump circulating, so that way all the fluids get cleaned out along the radiator, right? So we want to make sure we get everything. So the best thing to do is make sure this is maxed, make sure this is on. You're going to start your car, and then you're going to let this, if you look on your Mazda, you will see hot and cold. You're going to make sure that that is up here, right where my finger is, halfway. That means that you are now at operating temperature. You'll hear thermostat and everything kick in, and once you have it at operating temperature, leave it there for 5 minutes and let the just do its thing for the next 5 minutes. Then you're going to fire it off, and we're going to repeat the last step. We're going to be draining, but don't worry, I'll show you that right now. Fill your reservoir with the demineralized water or distilled water, so that way there's no chlorine and all that other crap in there. And then what you're going to do is, like I said, max this, turn it on, and start your car. And then let it warm up to operating temperature, 5 minutes. Alright, perfect. Hey guys, how's it going? So, it's been a while. As you can see, everything's going full blast right now, except for the music. And if you look, we're right where I want to be. So it's been there for probably 5 minutes now. Probably a little bit over. So next thing you're going to do is turn off your car, and what we're going to be waiting for is, if we go like this and put it into ACC, it's going to tell us the current temperature of our vehicle, and we want to make sure that that is all the way down before we actually start messing with stuff, because otherwise you're going to run into scalding hot water going down your arms, which is not very nice. So just wait until that goes back down, and then get ready for the next section. We're going to be pulling the drain plug again, and this should be the last time. Perfect. Alright guys, so I'm back under the car, so it's time to go back in there, undo it, and drain out all the water that we put into the system. After that, we will seal it back up after it's fully drained. You'll probably want to give it 10 minutes just to mainly get all that fluid out. If you notice that your cork is sticking, one thing that I've noticed is I was able to take a small Phillips and get it into where the fluid comes out, and then you just sort of lever a little bit, and it'll help it pop that extra way, because the threads only go so much, and then there's the actual blocker, right? So just get it out enough, give it a little bit of a pop, and then all the fluid will come out, alright? And like I said, give it 10 minutes to drip out. This is the final one, so this one you want to clean out completely. If you want to, what you can always do, if you have some more demineralized water and you don't care, you can always open this up, and after you've poured it, or after you've drained this all, you can pour a little bit more water down to try and push other sediments down, whatever else is in there. You don't really need to, but you can. Now, a lot of people are probably going to ask me about using different fluids to clean out your system. You can if you want. Just be careful with what you use, because you don't want to damage your system. For cleaner wise, I just like to do it this way. It's the easiest. Alright, so other than that, hope this helps you out, and we'll stay tuned for the next section. Hey guys, how's it going? So I took a look at the fluid. There's still a little bit dark coming out, so what I'm doing is, just to help it along, just to clean out what's ever in the pipes without recirculating it through the system, I've got this homemade filter, so that way if you don't have one, you can do it this way. It's just because I have an oil filter and a tranny filter, and I don't like to put my fluid through the same filter. So I've got this right here, and then I've got this, which is just a jug. Again, this is just demineralized water that I have, and we're just gonna pour it through here. and then it's going to go through here, and it'll start going through the pipe down below. If you listen, you can hear it picking up. And that right there, you know, that's probably all I'm going to do. But that should help just make sure all the pipes are clean throughout. So that way all the grain that came out of our water pump and everything else, heater core, whatever else is in there, everything in there is all drained through, and it makes for a better flush. I know a lot of people who actually just only pull the drain plug at the bottom, let it all flow, and then they re-smash the radiator with fluid. It's not a really thorough way of doing it. I do it this way, so at least you get a lot more of the gunge out. So I've done this. The next thing that we're going to have to do, of course, is we're going to let that drip out. I'm going to probably leave it for another 5 minutes. Put the cork back in. You're going to tie it back in. And after we've done that, it's time to fill this baby with our new antifreeze. I'm going to just be putting in some Prestone. It's pre-mixed. This stuff's all make. I'm just going to be putting that in. I mean, as long as it doesn't freeze the engine block, I'm very happy. So I'll be putting in the all make antifreeze. That's already split. Now, the whole reason why I'm using this is I could grab the antifreeze tester and do all that other stuff. I find it a lot easier just to buy the pre-mixed, because if your antifreeze system is completely Loctite, you don't really have to buy a lot of this, so you might as well just pick up 2 jugs of regular, and then you're set for a little while here. So, at this point, if you're done, tie that down, and then you're just going to start filling her up. Now, as you put fluid in, what you're going to have to do is grab each tube, like so, and squeeze it. This is known as burping the system. And what it does, by doing this, is it'll suck more fluids up. So like the big one down here is your big one, and you're just going to be squeezing it, and it's going to help get rid of air bubbles, so everything in there is more thorough, and it helps with circulation better. In the end, it's just precautionary, so you don't have to continuously look in here to see if it's at max. You're going to just be burping the system, putting it to max, running the car, and then once everything kicks in, making sure that it doesn't drop below the min, and just continuously filling her up, so that way you can continue to have a good operating system. I'm actually really glad that I did this. If you look here, you can see that the antifreeze is pretty dark. I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. Keep in mind, though, I actually did drive across Canada with this car, and it's got 100,000 kilometers on it, just over, and it's never probably been changed. I bought it at a really good price because the owner was kind of neglected of it, and what I ended up doing was I actually checked all the wiring, I tore this thing apart, and yada yada yada. I don't want to bore you, but that's basically it for right now. Alright, stay tuned for the next section. Hey guys, how's it going? Ghosty Rich here. So, as you can see, filled it up with the antifreeze. I went through, I burped this tube right down here, if you take a look, and then there's one that goes right to the engine right there, and I squeezed that a bit just to get all the air bubbles out, got all the fluid going up. We're all good. After I did that, went to the car, started her up, letting it go, and then we'll see if the fluid drops. That's all I'm looking for now. Other than that, the new fluid, as you can see, is super light green, which is awesome. Looks a hell of a lot better than the old fluid that was in there. I hope I got most of it out. I actually ended up going through about a jug. I still have that extra jug right there, which I haven't even cracked open yet. I think I have one more jug of leftover, same stuff, so I might be able to return one. Awesome. Other than that, I mean, everything's done here, as you can see. We're just going to let the car go and do its thing. And, yeah. So the only thing you need to do from here on in is monitor your fluids here. You want to make sure that the fluids don't go empty. If you do see it go empty, we have a problem, right? So what you're going to have to do is monitor them and fill them up as it goes. Now remember, do not ever, and I mean ever, pull off that cap after the car's been running or while it's running. You don't want to burn yourself if fluid comes shooting out or a lot of steam. If you notice it's gone down, turn the car off, leave it for a half an hour to an hour, pull it off. If you need to pull it off super quick, I highly don't recommend it. I know I've seen people take about 15 towels and put it on there and open it up and do it that way, but you got to realize the smoke, the PSI, everything that's in that tank, you don't want that releasing on your skin or it's going to really burn. Other than that, that's all tied up, everything's cleaned up. All that's really left is to take a cloth, clean off everything, clean off down below, make sure you get under the car, make sure you clean up everything. You don't want any puddles of this stuff around. If animals lick it up, they're dead. If kids lick it up, it tastes quite sweet, so they'll probably die if they drink too much of it. Alright, so I hope this video has helped you out. I've now done all the fluids for this car. Power steering, brakes, and transmission, oil. I've got all those videos up. You can always check it out. And if you need help doing washer fluid, I can help you. It's really easy, just pour your washer fluid in. Alright, other than that, hope this video has helped you out. Subscribe for more updates if you're interested. And of course, if this video helped you out, please like the video. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Any comments, post in the comment section below, even if they're a question. Hey guys, one last thing for you really quickly. If you take a look here, if you turn on your heater and you notice it's not working, what you should do is put this all the way to max, just like I had it before and I showed you before. Put it to 2 or 4, which is really good, and take this and put it all the way down so you'll see the little man and the arrow aiming at his face. This will give you heat. Now, one other tube that you should burp when you're doing this is if you go around and you go down. Actually, I'll show you a couple more because I wasn't very clear in the other section. You'll see this tube right in here, that big thick tube, which is also your return line, but you'll see it going into the radiator right here, goes around and into right there. You want to get your hand in there like so and then squeeze that. You'll hear it move in liquid, so you want to do that one, and then you'll come over here and there'll be 2 more pipes. These go to your heater core. You're going to grab these and you'll squeeze them. This will force more fluid up. It's all good. One of them is probably going to be pretty warm, one of them maybe won't be. Anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze them a bit, squeeze that one a bit, and it works it out. Alright, so I hope that helps you out, and thanks again for watching.